Hello and welcome everybody to a brand new episode of r/Entitled Parents. My name's Ryan, the official host here on Reddit Voice, and I look forward to bringing you guys today's top stories. Today we're going to be taking a look at assuming parents, screaming women over fireworks, Karens trying to order at closed restaurants, and biological dads blaming their daughters for their own abuse. Before we do, however, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button, as well as make sure you got notifications turned on, that way you could stay up to date with all the latest and the greatest. Biological dad blames me for the abuse I suffered from his girlfriend for years. Warning, this is rather long, and I just needed to get this off my chest. Small backstory, my mom and dad divorced when I was in the 5th grade. I'm on the lower spectrum of autism and didn't understand anything that was really happening during this time. I'm 22 now, and I understand everything. But growing up, all I knew was that my younger sister, who was 3 years younger than me and I, would see our biological father every weekend, to every other weekend, and sometimes on holidays. He got a new girlfriend, and my mom met my stepdad. Both sides had a child. My half-brother from my mom's side and my half-sister on my dad's. Both are less than a year apart. That wasn't really a small backstory, but whatever. About the end of middle school, my sister and I were seeing my biological dad every other weekend. I'll say it now, my dad when I was little and before the divorce was an incredible father. I was known to be Daddy's girl, and I loved him to the ends of the world. He taught me how to make omelets, allowed me to stir the mac and cheese, brought us to many places that I still love now. That was before he met his new girlfriend. At first, she was okay. She knew how to bake really well and enjoyed watching cooking shows. I'll say this now, she isn't thin. She isn't even average. She was big, like big, and she was very religious. At first, being super naive at my ripe young age of 10, I didn't understand the little things she would do. My hair was really long back then, about down to my hips. I hated how long it was, so I didn't care if I got knots or tangled or anything. I was too quiet and nervous to have it cut, so it stayed long. In middle school, I was signed up to do dance classes in an attempt to help me make friends with kids my age. Didn't work out for me, and it was required to have your hair up in a bun. I couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't figure out how to tie it up. She'd make comments about how I was a slow snail, and got mad at me when I asked for help, saying it was ridiculous for someone my age to not know how to put my hair up in a bun. I remember crying about this and my dad telling me to suck it up. Eventually, as I got older, I was developing in ways I didn't like. In dance class, all the other kids were twigs, and I was this curvier, thicker kid. Very quiet and shy, and no one wanted to be around me. I was still an incredible and passionate dancer, but the way I looked made me feel off about myself. On top of the comments from this girlfriend, it really hit my self-esteem. I was still unaware of things this girlfriend would do, and how badly it affected my eating. My sister was way more aware of things she would do to me that I just couldn't see at the time. I remember one evening, while our dad was grabbing things from the store and his girlfriend was watching us, we were at this area that was halfway between the kitchen and the living room. There was a bag of chips on the counter that we would take a few pieces out of while chatting. My sister was showing me different dance moves, the girlfriend was talking, and I was listening and eating the chips. I remember specifically that I did not finish the bag. There were still plenty left for 2 more full servings. She suddenly grabs the chip bag to put away and notices how empty in her eyes it was. She straight up loses it at me. I could only sit there in shock as she tells me I was going to grow up to be a fat and disgusting woman, talking about my period, God hates gluttons, and how shitty my self-control was if I couldn't stop myself from eating half a bag of chips. I ended up crying in the bathroom and didn't eat for the rest of the day. Now here's where the title of this post comes from. I'll say it now, I was a rather picky eater. I didn't like Mexican, Asian, pizza, hamburgers, various sandwiches, etc., and many food items I had to have ketchup with. It was pretty bad. I'm getting better about it now, but it was a huge safety net for me to dip it in ketchup when trying new food. Still, I was very, very picky. Both dad and girlfriend knew that very well. I don't remember when this started, but she started to not care about how picky I was. I don't like warm and mushy fruit, so blueberry pancakes were a big no for me. Instead of making a separate, as my dad was about to do, she stopped him and told him to add blueberries to it anyway. Obviously, I didn't really like it, so I started carefully picking the blueberries out of the pancakes so I could eat them. Before I could even start eating, she took my plate away and threw it in the trash, saying I wasn't allowed to eat for the rest of the day. I was too shocked to even cry, just bottling it up and remaining quiet on the couch. We weren't allowed to take anything from the fridge, so I just had to sit there and watch the rest of everyone eat without me. Luckily, while she was taking a shower, my dad manages to make me a small bowl of those baby pickles for me to munch on so that I could have something in my stomach. This continued for years. They would make something they knew I didn't like, and I'd try my best to eat what I could. I'd ask for ketchup, and she'd yell at me about how disgusting I was for wanting it on her cooking. Every dinner, I would beg for it, even if it was food I liked, but I required that delicious tomato paste. They refused to give it to me. Eventually, I started eating really fast. The tastes and textures made me want to vomit, but I was sick of coming back to my mom's house and straight up devouring the whole fridge. His girlfriend again yells at me for eating too fast. Every single time, she would take my food away, and I wasn't allowed to eat anything for the rest of the day. My sister and I would have to sit there and watch them grab snacks and lunches for themselves, shoving food down their gullets while we had to find something to do, afraid of getting yelled at if we sat on the couch for too long while they would sit there all day on their phones. It came to a point where I was terrified to ask for a glass of water in their house. My sister and I would try and come up with excuses not to go there, to which my dad would then guilt trip us. Oh well, I guess I'll have to tell your baby sister why her sisters aren't coming over. So we had to go. Not being allowed to bring our games, not being allowed to bring our homework, we had to sit and wait for food and hope it wasn't taken away. I was too afraid to say anything, and when I did say something, I was screamed at about how much of a pathetic dumbass I was. Because of this, I was, and still am, the slowest eater in all of my friend groups. I'd always ask for permission to do things such as use the bathroom, grab a cup of water, ask if I accidentally grabbed too much food and if I should put it back, and if it's okay to have seconds. This led to me starving myself of food because I didn't believe I deserved it. In dance, I had the worst self-esteem, comparing my body to the very thin and teeny girls. I would weigh myself over a dozen times a day, harming myself so I couldn't feel the hunger pains, covering mirrors because I didn't want to see how gross my body was developing into something that I hated. And yet I still get ridiculed and yelled at about my weight from this girlfriend. I was throwing up my meals and stayed in one spot, either on the couch or a hermit in my bedroom, drawing and trying to pass the time, only to get yelled at for being a lazy bum. I think you all know where this is going. To spare the graphic details, my mom had to rush me to the hospital. On the way there, my mom was chewing my dad a new a-hole through the phone, yelling at him about how much weight I've lost, how his girlfriend was not to treat me like that, and a whole lot of other things I couldn't remember. My dad did come to see me. I thought maybe, since he was alone and away from his girlfriend, he would apologize and, be a father. But instead, what he said absolutely broke me. Why on earth would you do this to yourself? You're 15. You should know better. I just don't understand why you would do something so stupid. I just started sobbing. I was in the hospital and he just couldn't understand that he and his girlfriend led me to this place. I didn't know what to say to him. All I could do was stutter and rock back and forth and try and soothe myself, but he just kept asking those same questions. He left as my mom enters. All I could do was cry at that point. I went on to different counselors and therapists, and the end of my 8th grade year was me going to doctor after doctor. But I was too scared to explain why and or talk about what I felt in fear of getting yelled at or ridiculed. This led to my diagnosis of bulimia, clinically severe depression, and generalized anxiety disorder. I wish this had a happier ending. My mom, who I love so much as a straight-up mama bear, full-on reprimanding my dad was definitely a relief, because it felt like she was saying all the things I wish I could say. Before people ask, I'm doing a lot better now. While I still have a nasty fear of getting yelled at, I stopped purging and starving myself over 5 years strong. After all the crap that happened, I left dance in pursuit of drawing and animal care. I was finding myself, and by the beginning of my freshman year of high school, I finally realized how dysphoric I felt about my body and sex. I came out to my mom as transgender. She was very supportive and tries her best. As for Dad and, well, that very religious evil stepmother, that's a story for another day. TLDR, fat girlfriend of father takes kids' food away if they ate too much or were picking at the food they didn't like, making them not eat for the whole rest of the day while they ate in front of them. Then they criticize them so badly, the oldest ends up getting an eating disorder. Father blames the kid and doesn't understand how they got said eating disorder. Karen attempts to order at a closed restaurant, despite me telling her that she can't order because we're closed. This happened about 4 years ago when I was working at McDonald's. Now this one's a 24/7 McDonald's, but due to management at the time, we had to do a deep clean, so we closed a date and we gave considerable notice, as there were signs everywhere letting people know. Then there's the blind driver who went past all 7 signs not noticing a single one. I'm on the headset for drive-thru. The cast, me, yours truly, EM, entitled mother, and M, manager. Me, here's the beep that someone's at the order station. Hello, welcome to McDonald's. Unfortunately, we're closed at the I'd like a fish finger happy meal and a large quarter-pounder meal with a Diet Coke, please. I'm sorry, ma'am. We can't provide any service at the moment because we just closed for maintenance and deep clean tonight. What do you mean? This is an all-day, all-night McDonald's. Yes, we are. However, this was the business manager's decision, ma'am. I can't provide any service at the time. I'm posted to let customers know that we're closed in case they miss the signs outside. I don't like your tone. I'd like to see your manager. Of course, ma'am. 1 minute, please. I go to the manager and explain the situation up to when she asked for him. He takes the headset and I grab a spare. Hello, this is the manager for tonight. What seems to be the issue? I'd like to order, please. Ma'am, my crew member explained we're closed at the moment for maintenance and deep cleaning. You're gonna have to find another McDonald's that's open, like the one in X and the other in the city center. But it's my son's birthday, and I want to treat him. Ma'am, I understand that, but none of our equipment is on to provide service. You ruined my kid's birthday. I'm coming to the window. EM drives up to the window and demands to see my manager's superior, screaming at him, not knowing he is the only superior there, since he's the damn business manager. I am the business manager, ma'am. You've decided to harass my crew and disrespect me. We have your plate, face, and car's description, and will not only report you to the police, but we will permanently be banning you from this McDonald's. Congrats, you're the first person I've ever had to ban. Karen drives off and we resume the cleaning. We did have leftovers from before we closed, so we held a friendly competition for the most creative burger. I didn't win, but I got to eat my Spicy Quad Big Mac Supreme. TLDR, Karen didn't get the hint that we're closed, so she screams at the business manager to get his in-store superior when he has no in-store superior. She's banned and we report her to the police for aggressive behavior. Edit. Thank you for all the awards, kind strangers. It is the most I've had in all my time on Reddit. Woman screams at my brother, who just wanted to light fireworks for the 4th of July. Little context here, it's the 4th of July on 2016, and we just got fireworks. We're planning to bring them to a show when this happens. EM, you know who. Me, not the star of the show. B, my oldest brother who was gonna put the fireworks in the car. Excuse me, we have a baby nearby. Okay, we're just going to a fireworks show. Okay, but you need to keep it quiet. There's a baby nearby. Wait a second, why are you on our property? That's trespassing. We had a gate to our backyard. That does not matter. Yes, it does though. EM then turns mad when we get poppers, which are less loud than actual fireworks. No way someone can hear them unless they're really close by. The fireworks show was just a few blocks down. My younger nephew starts popping them. EM then starts screaming. What are you doing? There's a baby asleep! V proceeds to tell my nephew to put the poppers down. I'm sorry for the noise. Also, what are you doing on my property? Fuck you! Hey, don't cuss in front of my kids. EM just left fed up afterwards. B decided to stop so the baby could rest and take us to the fireworks show. Luckily, my brother and his family moved out to a bigger house near a bigger community and met some nicer neighbors. And now for our smallest and final story of the evening. Parents, just assuming that you will. One of my biggest pet peeves that my parents used to do, and something my boyfriend's parents do, is just assuming you'll be able to do something for them without asking. I don't think it's bad for a parent to ask their kid to help out. For instance, watching siblings, running errands, etc. But for the love of God, tell them first. You can't just wait until 5 minutes before you need something done and spring it on them last minute. We are humans. We have lives too. My boyfriend is 20, and today we were supposed to hang out when I got back from the store. I just got back and he gets in his car to come over, and his mom calls him and says he can't leave because she needs him to wait until his little brother is ready to be picked up from his friend's house and to drive him home. If she would have asked earlier, it would have been no big deal. Hey, I need you to pick up your brother from his friend's house later. Easy, simple communication. But no, they have to wait until he's about to drive away. They do this all the time with every little thing, and it's insanely frustrating. They'll do it last minute without warning and demand he watch his brothers for hours when we already have plans. And if he says he has plans, they're like, oh well, just change him or cancel. Like wholly entitled. Generally, when you need people to do stuff for you, it's nice to fucking ask first. Edit. Wow, this post blew up. Hopefully my boyfriend and I will be moving out of state within the next year. This will help a lot with the issues with our families. Until then, we're just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. And with that, my friends, we've reached the end of today's Entitled Parents. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like on the video as well as subscribe with notifications turned on. That way you could stay up to date with all the latest and the greatest. As always, my name's Ryan, the official host here on Reddit Voice. And it's been fun, but I gotta go. But be sure to check back in tomorrow, and I'll be sure to see you guys in the next video.